Hello everyone, yeah, me again. I've decided to do another video. It's kind of been 2 weeks since I've got to Principe now, and I've kind of started to find my feet and everything. It's kind of taken that long, but yeah, it's different here, like very different to anything else. I presume everyone's having the same sort of situation, going to university and everything. You're in a whole new city, a whole new group of people you're with, and it kind of takes a while to find your feet and everything. So yeah, this felt like the right time that I've seen enough and done enough to kind of tell everyone how it's been. Um, so yeah, I kind of left Gabon 3 days late, skipped over to Sao Tome, then over to Principe, and landed in this beautiful kind of paradise island. Just was exactly the same as I remember it, but more beautiful. Like jungle and rainforest and everything, and beaches. Flying in was incredible and stuff. But yeah, Principe it's not an island too many people are familiar with. It's the country is Sao Tome and Principe, and yeah, it's just off the west coast of Africa, like just off Gabon and Equatorial Guinea. And I'm here to basically work as the volunteer. I'm the kind of the first one, and so I may be their last, depending on how good a job I do. But yeah, I'm working for the Principate Trust, and the Principate Trust is like a non-profit organisation, kind of run by some South African guy that works towards the sustainable development of the island of Principe and conservation of its incredible biodiversity through like the promotion of like ecotourism. Um, but yeah, as a town, it's beautiful. Like it's full of old Portuguese colonial architecture, and everything's slightly run down and a bit kind of battered, but it's still full of colour and everything, which I find amazing just to walk through the streets. Like when the sun shines, it's just like, it's so pretty. And yeah, it's like the town's very like lev. And lev kind of the word here that people use. Like you can say, como estás, and it's lev.
Lev.
It's just been slowly. That's kind of the thing here. Everything's slow and soft, and no one seems to be in a bit of a rush to do anything. But yeah, so the old Portuguese architecture. So people live in San Antonio, which is kind of the main city, and there are only like 8,000 people living here. Well, on the whole island of Principe, and it's only like 100 kilometers squared. So itself is tiny, like one of the smallest nations. It's kind of said to have the smallest capital city in the world, which makes it fun because when you're kind of walking down the street, everyone knows each other. Like there isn't much to the town, but everyone walks past. Bom dia, como estás? Tudo bem? Everyone's kind of talking and waving, and it's such a nice kind of place to live and stuff. But yeah, so there are other settlements, and these kind of seem to be. So these are all like on the outskirts of town, and they're like rosas, and they're basically old plantations. Because Principe basically became. Well, it wasn't like colonized when people came here, like the Portuguese, and it suddenly became like in the late 18th century when it had been through the Dutch colony and the French colony and came into Portuguese colony. The Portuguese basically brought cocoa here from Brazil and kind of decided when Brazil was having problems that it would bring all its cocoa production here. And there were these amazing plantations set up, big massive mansions with like state-of-the-art hospitals, workshops, and just generally loads of things there to produce the cocoa. And it made some of the best cocoa in the world at the time. It was like they were called the Chocolate Isles. And yeah, and then when that kind of left, like when the Portuguese reign ended, and they kind of only got like autonomous status in 1995. So it's been quite recent since they kind of got independence, and the cocoa went and everything. Plantation houses were just kind of left, and from Pico, where I've worked quite a few times. You can just look down and see them all, and driving past, and people still living there and kind of made them their own and run down plantations. And it's amazing, the architecture and the way of life around here. So I'm living in some interesting shaped building, and it's kind of a guest house. I think there's 4 rooms.
It's not money though.
Welcome
to
my
Gaff. And yeah, so the kind of things I'm doing, I'm a volunteer, and people always ask like, why are you here, and what are you doing? Because everyone seems to have their own individual project and reason to be here as such. But yeah, as a volunteer, I kind of do a load of different bits. So I help out moving stuff, like sorting out the library for the schools. I've like planted an irrigation system. I've got myself an English class to teach like middle-aged women in one of the plantation houses English. I do a load of stuff. So I'll be helping out with all the turtle and marine stuff as well when that starts to come about. And yeah, so but mostly I've kind of been working for the biosphere department, and climbing up Pico Papagayo, which is like the second highest peak in Principe, like 600 meters tall, and that's kind of what I do. I'll be climbing up that, which would take like 7 hours round trip. I've done that 3 times now. First time and second time were a little bit of a mess, because I decided it'd be a good idea not to bring walking boots with me. Well, nah, I don't need them, it'll be fine. And I did need walking boots. You're very, very, very muddy. But every time we've done it, it's got easier, because our job has kind of been to make it easier for people to climb up the peak. And the views are just amazing. So I presume everyone will climb up to the peak. And yeah, so like stringing ropes so you don't fall, make everything easier, putting steps in, putting signs up. So it's all nothing too exciting, but it's all lovely, just being surrounded by the rainforest, and everything's just completely different to being at home. But there are so many other things going on here. Like there's like 30 people in our office maybe, and there's maybe not 30, but enough, and everyone kind of does their own thing. Everyone's got their own reason to be here, and there's so many different projects like education. Then there's the forestry department, which sorts out all the trees and makes sure that's all kind of done correctly. There is the biosphere department, which look after the biosphere, which is kind of like a national park as such. Then there's the marine biology department, which sorts out all the turtles and whales and fisheries and things. Because we've got people in from Exeter University at the moment who are looking at the fisheries and stuff. Then we've also got one guy in the moment who's studying the mangrove, and another girl in who's looking at the stray dog population. And then culture here, it's obviously completely different. We kind of have one thing in common, which is a massive love for football. Like they love football here, and drinking alcohol as well. So yeah, there's loads of footy. You see people crowding around little TVs, watching footy, playing footy, everything. It's massive here. And yeah, I kind of spend a lot of my time doing it as well. Because you need your home comforts. So streaming football every weekend is kind of my home comfort. So it kind of goes from watching footy to lying on an amazing white sand beach all day and snorkeling in like the blue water. And it's just like, it's amazing here. I love it. But yeah, so there isn't much like local culture, so they don't really have like their own music or art or drama or things like that. There doesn't appear to be any of that, but they do still have like nightclubs as such or discotheques. And went to the first one, and it was funny. Like the bar we were drinking at before was called the Lev Bar. Just everything slowly. Wait, and I didn't even say before, like I was at Sunday, one of the Plantations, and on one of the walls from the workshop, it was just Lev written on it, and I'm like, sums up the working attitude of the people here.
Lev.
So yeah, I went to the Lev Bar and drinking, and someone just, how are we gonna get there? And it's kind of like my first weekend here, and we have no idea what we're going to. We're going to the discotheque. It's like, right, fine. And suddenly, outside pulls up this massive rickety bus that we all jump into and go like sweeping up through the mountains until we get to this little bar, and they're dancing Kizomba, which you probably won't know about and you don't really want to know about because it's rubbish. It's like the slowest, most painful thing to watch. And it's just like, ugh. And literally they just hug each other and step forwards and backwards. No, thank you.
Whole time I like dogs, yeah.
But yeah, so that I went another time as well, and after, when it gets later, they start playing Ephra House, which is a little bit nicer, a little bit more upbeat. You can kind of actually dance to it. Oh, and right, and on the way up, like for the second time to the club, like I saw the fastest dog I've ever, the most amazing super dog in the world. Like I got like 5 minutes, 5 seconds of a clip of him running, and the dog, it must have been maybe 2 kilometers up to this club, and the dog ran the whole way with us. Like we lost him for about the last 2 minutes, and then he arrived 30 seconds after us. This dog was like overtaking a Polaris 4x4 vehicle. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Dinner as well, food, it's like there's not really much choice. Like it's kind of chicken and rice, or fish and rice, and maybe pasta if you're lucky. And that's kind of it. That's what you do. But it's cheap. It's like €4 for a full meal, which is live. Like you really can't complain about that. But the interesting thing is you have to book for everything. Like because they don't really they don't like to keep food waiting because it's kind of only the expat population that eats out. Like you have to book, and it's so hard. Like especially at the start where I didn't know where anything was, just to book a restaurant, and I had no idea. Like you have nothing to help you. Don't have the internet. You can't type in restaurants in Principe on the internet, and it give you directions. So that was really hard at first. But you kind of get used to it and find the nicest spots in town, and yeah. What is nicer is the fact that beers are €1. Like beers are €1. It's an absolute blessing. Like you can't get much better than beers for €1. But yeah, so that's kind of it. That's kind of what I've experienced. It doesn't really seem like a lot. But I've been here 2 weeks and I'm just starting to find my feet, so let's hope there's loads of things to come. Loads more things to come. But yeah, again, thank you for listening and watching, and probably maybe do another one in the next couple of weeks or so. So thank you.